Díobh is Misha Vicky Flanagan, Balsha Roa Puig Session Hawthrn era. Hello, my name is Vicky Flanagan and welcome to Sacred Sessions Ireland. So for today, we're going to explore the healing energies of Hawthorn, which has a very close connection to Ireland. And we're going to discuss the significance of Hawthorn in Irish culture and some lore, so including the beings, the fairy folk that protect her. So we're going to end the session with a guided meditation. So I'm going to be connecting us with the energy of Hawthorn, so that we get to heal and awaken our heart and also our heart medicine. So we get to soften walls and guarding around our heart, because they can act as barriers to the very thing that we're desiring, the very thing that we want. So Hawthorn can teach us how to set these innate boundaries by using the wisdom of our heart and using the protection of who we are, our essence, rather than setting really, concrete walls and guarding, and that actually not only keeps love out, but from getting in as well. So it's a really beautiful and significant medicine that I feel really privileged to be called to work with now. It's been a long time coming. So I've waited patiently for the call. So I'm excited now to have that permission to bridge it with you as well in the way that I work as an energy worker. So as I said, Hawthorn, or Hua in Oscuelga, is closely related to Ireland and Irish folklore and mythology. So it is a deciduous tree, so it's a small bushy tree. You may have heard other names, in different parts of the world, like Mayflower and Whitethorn, but they're generally, you can find them in groups, but they can grow alone and they can live up to 400 years. So because of Hawthorn's thorny branches, they can look like hedges, and they're actually great for keeping out livestock in the field. So this would have been a tree that may have been planted to help farmers, so their livestock wouldn't escape. But because Hawthorn's connection with fairies, so the beings that protect and live and play where at these trees are, because of their connection with fairies, farmers would want to maybe be respectful or would be fearful of fairies and upset and disrespecting fairies, that they would tend to plough their fields well away from the hawthorn because they didn't want to disturb the fairies. So even up until now, people that don't say believe in fairies or don't understand the lore, there are still a lot of caution and even fear when it comes to messing with a hawthorn tree, when it comes to upsetting the fairies that live there. So that is, Irish people have been known to be super superstitious, and I've heard some speakers like Caroline Mace, who I really enjoy listening to, and she talks and kind of sometimes seems like makes fun of like Irish people being super superstitious, and she thinks that's a real base chakra, first energy center issue. And I don't know about that, because I think I've thought about it a lot, but if when you're an Irish person and you've grown up, your ancestors are here, or even if your ancestors are Irish and you live elsewhere, this connection that we have with the earth, with the land, and specifically with the hawthorn tree and the beings that protect it, that lives in your DNA, that lives somewhere. So and there's countless stories of fairy folk and what has happened, the consequences that has happened to people when they messed with the hawthorn tree. Okay, so I've also noticed that hawthorn trees, whether they're alone or again, there's a group of hawthorn trees at sacred sites. So if you look at, we visited here in Sacred Sessions, we visited Castle Ruddery Stone Circle, and there's hawthorns that move all the way around the stone circle, the embankment circle. And at Graney Stone Circle, there's just one lone hawthorn within the scene. So They can also be found at sacred wells around Ireland and, at the Hill of Tara. So you'll notice that specifically the fairy tree at the Hill of Tara has little ribbons that are tied to the branches. And this is kind of like an old Irish practice of people tying the ribbons, and the ribbons would represent a wish to the fairies. So obviously, of course, we've kind of come to a stage now where the greediness of our culture and society lately, where people are now tying on, like surgical masks, and they're tying on like tissues. I've seen like dog poo bags being tied on to the hawthorn tree, and people are nailing coins into the tree and like wounding the tree. So there are a committee in the Hill of Tara specifically that help clean up and keep the hill safe, and including the fairy tree. So they do a big cleanup. But it just kind of shows that people who have maybe want to keep some of the superstition alive, if we're going to call it the superstition, in the sense that they want their wish, right? People are desperate for maybe health, or like to help a family member, or our wishes could be, and our prayers could be really intentional and sweet, but how we ask is very it's very, in the culture that we live in now, it's very much where we are still harming nature. We're still not asking, but we're taking. So it's power over structure. So even people that don't believe but are desperate for health or a wish or whatever it might be, are seemingly trying to connect, but they're actually just causing more harm. And that's, we can all learn from that. And that's why, we share this type of work, because that's why I like to share this type of work. We get to learn how to be in relationship to the hawthorn, and also the earth and the beings that protect the earth in different sacred. Can I just ask that everybody is on mute? Thanks. So the hawthorn is known as the fairy tree, or a wishing tree, hence the ribbons. And it's known as, it can be an entrance to the other world. And Ireland's not the only tradition, or like, we're not the only country that has this tradition. So, my teacher was telling me that in Mongolia, shamans have a similar tradition to us. So in, shamanic tradition there in Mongolia, they will travel to what's known as a mother tree, and they'll hang prayer ties and ribbons, which represent their prayers. And then they believe that the mother tree is a bridge from humans to the spirit world. So their prayers will get across to the spirit world. So it is a common tradition in other areas, in other parts of the world, but it is rooted in spirituality. So I mentioned briefly about fairies and how they are intertwined when it comes to hawthorn, and they are known as the protectors of hawthorn. They are land guardians. I think it's important to develop your own relationship to fairies. Maybe you're someone that connects easily to elementals or Davic beings. Maybe you're someone that connects more to celestials, or earth energies like me, like deep in the earth, like vortexes. Fairies, there's so much projection when it comes to what are fairies and the different types of fairies, and we have amazing stories and folklore that we can go back to, which I'll talk about the different types, but I think it's really important to keep this energy that I share, try to be conscious to keep it outside of your aura, to keep it outside of your crown, because there's so much fear built in, and I'm not sure if that fear, I think in a sense it is warranted, but it's also when we learn how to be in right relationship, we don't need to be as fearful, because we can take our cues from our own intuition, and we can learn to listen. So I'll just explain the different types of fairies that I've come across, just from learning more about fairies. And I definitely want to explore my own relationship with fairies too. I'm actually trying to release some of the programming around fears, so that I can actually build more meaningful, deeper relationships. So Fairies are, there's lots of different types of fairies, and in Irish mythology, you may have heard of the Tuatha De Danann, and they are a supernatural race of deities, and they inhabited Ireland for a specific period of time before they were defeated by the Gaels, so the first Gaelic people. And Goddess Aru basically made a deal with the Gaels. So she said that her and her tribe, the Tuatha De Danann, would retreat underground, so beneath Ireland, if the land was named after her. So the Gaels said yes, and they named the land Eru, which in modern Irish is Erin, which we know to be Ireland. So the Tuatha De Danann are said to still reside beneath the land. So they reside in mounds. And in Irish, in Oscuelga, mounds is translated to she, Sidhe. And the Tuatha De Danann are also referenced to be known as the people of the she. So these are the land guardians, the people of the land. At Hilittara, there's also lots of stories and folklore of the red fairies and also Far Jarrig in Oscuelga. So yeah, I mean, the red fairies were quite terrifying when I read about them. So there's lots of stories of the red fairies were seen to be having a procession at the Hilittara. A lot of people would stay inside and lock their doors, they didn't want to be seen messing with the red fairies. There's also stories of farmers that cut the hedges or even trim the hedges of the hawthorn in their fields. And there's a story of a farmer, and he went out to cut the hawthorn, and his wife begged him, please don't upset the fairies, please just leave the hawthorn as it is. And he said, I don't care about the fairies, I don't believe, like, be grand, I don't believe that. And he cut the hedges, and then the next day when he went out, all of his cattle was dead, all of his livestock was dead. And then the day after that, his wife passed. And then this really tragic, things kept happening until he put the hedges that he cut down, put it back. But these kind of stories, there's just so many, countless of these stories. We can also notice fairies at ring forts, and there's stories of men that came home that were like drunk on the way home from the pub. They stumbled across a fairy fort, and they see the fairies dancing and playing music around the ring fort, and stay and watch. And there's one story of a man who stayed for hours watching the fairies, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, he was in awe of what he was seeing, watched them all night. And the next morning when he woke up, he lost all the feeling in his leg. He couldn't use one of his legs again. And people say, I heard someone talking about that story, and why would they do that? Why would that happen? And someone said, well, how would you feel if you were having a party and you were dancing and singing and someone stared at you for hours outside? Now, I don't know if they should lose a leg, but yeah, it wouldn't be very nice. It wouldn't be very respectful. It wouldn't be an equal kind of exchange. You wouldn't do that to someone that you saw as to be respected. So there's lots of stories like that. We've also heard of leprechauns. Like, leprechauns are more famous, or like would be talked about more in places like America. We don't really say leprechauns in Ireland. I actually think goblins can be a kind of type of a fairy, or maybe goblins could be associated with leprechauns. There's also the banshee, which would fall under the she, and puka are part of the she family. So yeah, there's lots of stories of fairies that when we cross their boundaries, or we wreaked havoc on their home, or we took something that wasn't ours, that there was a curse that happened, whether that meant death or losing everything you own, all your money. But there's also stories of fairies bestowing beautiful and like good fortune on people, and people that have treated them with respect and given them what they need. I've read stories of fairies that do chores, and people that leave out food for fairies as well. So it's not all bad. It definitely is my understanding that these type of land guardians do need to be respected. If you think about fairies, they aren't the same as, say, a celestial or an angel. I think a lot of people see fairies as benevolent beings, but actually fairies, they are vibrating on a different plane to that kind of an energy. And fairies are, you know, people know fairies are really playful and can be messers. So they have likes, they have dislikes, and I can even feel a bit of fairy energy now. But I remember me, my mom, and my grandmother went to the Hill of Tara, and my nanny, who was 80 years of age, and the fairy energy of the Hill of Tara is so prominent. Like, oh my God, when you get there, you can't help but joke around and play and like run. And my 8-year-old grandmother started to run up and down all the fairy hills and laughing and giggling. And me and my mom were looking, and we just thought, well, there you go. That's the power of the fairies. I've never seen my nanny run like that. So it's really beautiful energy, but they also have, yeah, so they have a job to do. They're protecting their home. And yeah, it's important to remember that. It's important to remember that we need to, like any relationship, build trust. So we need to go in where we, introduce ourselves. We need to say hello. We need to ask permission before we commune with the land there. We need to ask permission before we ever take anything. So it's about giving and offering something that they are going to really enjoy and build that relationship first before we ask permission to maybe even sit at a hawthorn tree. I think it's important to just acknowledge the beings that live there. For me, I felt called by the tree rather than the fairies. So I knew I was going to be welcomed by the tree, even if the fairies didn't call me themselves, but I'm still going to bring gifts that I know that they might like, So I've heard people talk about bringing oats and butter and milk. I love that. It's real old Irish. I like to bring well water, like from different sacred wells, and I mix it in, or if I make a tincture, I'll put a bit of that in as well. I like to bring green crystals for fairies, or shiny things. I like, you'll know what you're drawn to. You can ask as well before you do that. So it's not to scare anyone that into working with hawthorn or with fairies, but it's just to remember that we need to be in right relationship. Yeah. So how this all came about, there's a hawthorn tree in Trim where I live. And well, there's many hawthorn trees, but there's one specific tree that it's on its own. And anyone that comes to visit me, whether friends or family, as we walk by the tree, they're like, oh my God, look at that tree. It's so cute. It's so magical. And like, let's go over. And for a while I was like, like, no, I don't think so. Like, because I would walk by that particular hawthorn, and I would offer energetic offerings. So I would offer grounding cord, I would offer universal energy blessings, I would use the elements to offer clearing. And sometimes the hawthorn would accept, and other times I just felt I was better to leave it, and I would just say hello. So after a year and a half, I received the call to go and work with Hawthorn, and I went straight out. I spent a bit of time gathering my gifts, my offerings, and I went straight to the tree, and I harvested some of the wild berries until I knew it was time to stop. So I actually only had quite a small batch really, but I was so excited because I knew I was ready for the heart medicine from Hawthorn. I didn't really know that much about Hawthorn, and as I was harvesting, I was learning about her medicine. So it was a really sacred, I don't know, maybe an hour or so I was there, but it was sacred because she was teaching me. I didn't go to a class before. I didn't really know the naturopathic, say, medicine of Hawthorn. But it is known as the heart herb. So it offers heart health, healing and protection. So Hawthorn reminds us that we need to protect our heart because it's the center of which our entire world is co-created. And then this particular Hawthorn tree generously shares her wisdom and she shares her heart healing properties, but she does so only for those who are ready, in my opinion. So if you're here, if you're watching this, and you feel drawn or called to this video, or to this session, just trust that you're ready. You're ready for whatever shifts and healing that's going to come from this particular session. One of the sacred teachings of Hawthorn is boundaries. So Hawthorn leads by example. I'm going to actually share my screen because I think it's nice to have a visual. So let me do that. Share screen. Can people see this? The tree? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's the tree. She's very sweet, and these actually grow up to like 6 feet only, so they are quite small. But this was earlier in the year, and if you look around, there's like it doesn't look as long there, but the grasses are very long, and there's lots of nettles, and then also Hawthorn has thorny branches. So I got stung a lot even going down, even though I had permission, and stabbed a few times for the thorns, but it's her kind of protection, it's her innate protection. So here's the berries as well. So she leads by example, and she lets us know that we don't need to have walls or swords, anything man-made, to guard us and protect us. That our own essence can do that. Our own spirit is our greatest protection. So the more that we can soften the walls around our heart, the more that we can bring in more of our essence and just allow our heart medicine to expand, dissolving those kind of fear-based protection that we've put up. I remember I went through a phase of believing that I was kind of maybe attracting bad things happening to me. And, just when I grew out in the world, people would just do mean things or say weird things. And I was like, what is going on? I'm going through a really weird time. So I started getting into that really fear-based protection. So I'd imagine there was like a golden light that surrounded me. Then there was a circle of fire, and then I was in the box. I had myself wrapped in all these different layers of energetic protection. And I remember going out one night, and I was on the phone to my mom the next day, and I was like, do you know what? I went out last night, and I got really protected. I had the fire, I had the gold, I had the box and everything. And I was like, not one person talked to me, not one person came up to chat to me. Even the people we were with didn't really talk to me that much. And my mom was like, I wonder why, So often we can kind of, out of fear and out of, meaning well, we want to protect ourselves against anything that might be bad. But when we do that, we end up keeping out what can be good and just life in general, So I think most of us learn to build walls around our heart when we're growing up because, we wanted to stay safe, or we just wanted to survive and learn how to get on with our parents and our caregivers. So what happens is when we get older, there comes a point where that way of being, whatever the coping mechanisms are, whatever resistance or gardens in place, is either attracting energies that we don't want, like that fear-based protection, or we're keeping too much of life out. We're not only protecting ourselves from pain or perceived pain, but we're also keeping out support, love and friendship and money and just energies that we really want and need. So as humans, we have needs for all those things, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have them. We're here to have a human experience, and I don't think suffering or depriving ourselves is really, we don't need that all our life. It might be great for a period of time to learn all those juicy lessons, but it's also cool to learn the polarity of that, where you get to receive, where you get to attract and magnetize, rather than trying to force and push things to happen, or to have boundaries that keep everybody out and you're hyper independent or highly codependent. So I think that this is our birthright, and I think what happens is, and I think what's happening now is like boundaries is a buzzword. I'm really working on boundaries. I find it difficult to fully understand boundaries and how to implement them. And what can happen is, or what is happening is, like when I look at my mother, like my mother is learning all this stuff with me, you know? So if we're learning together, it means there's not really many role models. Like her mother is not a role model for what it means to be interdependent, you know, or what self-love is, or what it means to be balanced feminine and masculine, you know. So if we don't have those role models, we're kind of looking for them. um and you know what happens is we are finding our way, we're healing, and we're finding people that know a little bit more than we know, so we're going to them for classes and things like that. But truly what I've learned to do is go to nature, you know, because nature, you know, Mother Earth and the land that we're on, our plant allies, they have wisdom, they know how to do it. We're kind of like babies when it comes to trying to figure this out. Maybe, you know, back in our ancient ancestry, maybe we have a slight remembering there. I think a lot of us are awakening that energy, that remembrance. Um, but mostly, I think it's to actually just go to nature. When we want to learn how to love ourselves, when we want to learn how to recognize our own unique medicine, our worthiness. I mean, the whole world is desperately trying to feel like we're enough. So when we can go to nature, and nature will show us for sure. Um, yeah, I think even for Hawthorn is like a master when it comes to heart healing and boundary specifically, how to heal your heart, keep it open so that you get to be intimate with life, but you also get to feel protected. Like if that course was going somewhere, you would pay big money for it. And yet we won't go to nature to get the answers. Um, and I think a lot of us are starting to wake up to that. I think a lot of us have felt the call back to nature in different ways. And yeah, to work with plant allies this way. So I don't think we have all the answers. Humans, we just don't have them. But we can collaborate, and we can work with other energies that are much faster than us, that have been here a lot longer than us. And that's why I like to bridge people with the sacred sites, because that land energy is, you know, is way older than me and has way more knowledge than I do, and abilities, and actually probably knows us better than we know ourselves. So when it comes to working with masters, I think why not turn to plant allies like Hawthorn. Um, yeah, and I think Hawthorn again is helping us to figure out how to be interconnected, to set those healthy boundaries. So we can go, we can ask for teachings, we can ask for blessings, and we can ask questions. We just need to learn how to listen. There's lots of different ways how to do that. Yeah, and if you feel like, sometimes it feels like it's gone too far, you know, if your heart's breaking, especially if you look at the state of the world and where we're going, it can kind of seem like we're never going to get ourselves out of this mess, and we're not by the way that we're going, you know, not by the intelligence that caused us to get here collectively. But we can still be radical, and we can relearn and remember how to be in right relationship with the earth, so we can practice being in reverence to the plants, you know, to ourselves, to one another. We can learn how to listen, empower each other, empower the earth, and ask permission rather than trying to take or bulldoze over. And I think that awakening, that's how we're going to find our way home. Yeah, so what to expect for this meditation. Before we get into it, we're going to collaborate with Hawthorn. I'm going to guide us into a meditation and bring you to Trim, to meet my little tree, or our tree. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of surrender and permission to say yes, to be able to soften those walls and resistance. I'm also going to give some space for us to allow any programs, any belief systems, that are rooted in those core wounds, that they get to be released as well. So yeah, there's going to be a big clearing before we have our heart healed. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. So just if you kind of feel like your conscious mind is getting kicked out, that's a good thing. These sessions, even though they're short, they go deep. So just allow whatever's going to happen. You don't have to be, conscious for it. Sometimes it's better if it just goes deep into the subconscious and it's happening on a higher level. So yeah, when we'll set intentions together, we're going to come into the sacred sessions container, so you'll be very safe and protected. And that's one thing I've noticed about working with the land. It's never too much or too little. It's always the healing that we receive is always perfect. It's always exactly what we need when we need it. So trust that you're here for a reason. And if you want to get comfortable for this session, I personally, for these sessions, like to sit up because I always fall asleep. Well, I mostly fall asleep. If you want to lie down, that's okay too. If you're really, really tired and you just want to sleep through this, trust that it's happening in your subconscious and just allow yourself to sleep. But yeah, so get comfy. You're welcome to keep your camera on or off. That's cool with me. And yeah, we'll bring us into this now. Okay, so if you want to roll your shoulders up and back, take a few deep breaths. I like to take a deep breath in through my nose, out through your mouth. One more deep breath into your nose and out through your mouth. So we're going to come together in a group container for this session. So I welcome you all to step into Sacred Sessions group container. So let's imagine there's a really beautiful bubble that surrounds our entire group. And this bubble can be any color. Maybe it's a beautiful gold, maybe it's green or iridescence. And you're very welcome. Everybody's welcome here. So give yourself permission to step fully into this bubble. We're going to allow it to get bigger. And we're going to refresh the grounding cord of this container. So let's imagine a new earth cord comes up to attach to the bottom of our container. And allow this earth cord to get a little wider. We're going to bring in universal energy above our head. So let's imagine that beautiful gold, all the sparkles. Just allow that universal energy to pour into the top of our container. So we're connected to the cosmos, to the universe. We're going to welcome in our own inner wisdom and our spirit guides. We can ask that they collaborate for our highest and greatest good. We're going to welcome in some vortexes that we've worked with. There's already some here, so we're just going to allow them to pour in and offer their support. We're going to welcome in the energy of Hawthorn. And sometimes when we bring in Hawthorn, you might feel a slight expansion in the heart. And just remembering that Hawthorn is our kin. So whether you're in Ireland or not, doesn't matter. Hawthorn is your kin and is excited to work with you as well. There's definitely going to be some big breakthroughs for people. So let's set the intention that whatever healing is needed, whatever is going to help you to get to your next breakthrough happens. Let's just ask that it's easeful, that it's sweet, that you feel deeply held and safe and protected. And that you can always lean on Hawthorn through this journey. We're also going to set the intention that I get to share my truth and my information and insights, but your truth and your intuition is more important. So let's place your inner wisdom in charge of this session. And any information that I shared, you can let it sit outside your aura. You don't have to take that on. We're also going to set the intention for beautiful heart healing, to release programs, belief, structures, any rigidity in the heart or in our aura, in our energy system. We're also going to release walls and resistance with ease, just gently back into the earth. Emotions are allowed to be here. They're allowed to come up, and they're also going to be held deeply and sweetly by the earth, and just gently released. We're going to set the intention to learn how to set boundaries that are healthy, that encourage interconnectedness, boundaries that help us to open our heart and share heart medicine, intimacy, to be intimate in ways that protect us, but don't cut us off from our own medicine. And then whatever intention that you personally have, and maybe it's nothing to do with heart medicine at all, maybe it's something that's just on your mind, you're welcome to share that into the group container in your mind. So in your own mind, you can just offer your own prayer or intention. We're going to call in earth energy. So imagine really beautiful earth energy flowing up from the earth and into our container, and just allowing this earth energy to support and imbue all of our intentions with so much wisdom and insight, unconditional love. We're going to welcome in universal energy into the container. And again, the universal energy is going to offer support, insight, wisdom for each of our intentions. We're going to also welcome in the element of space into our container. So just allow our container to grow and even evolve slightly. Just welcoming in the element of space. And this space is going to represent all of the prayers and intentions that we didn't know to ask for. We didn't even know were possible. And just miracle energy. Lastly, we're going to set the intention to be in right relationship with the earth, with the land of Ireland, with Hawthorn and the beings that protect her. So any energies that don't complement or support our intentions, we're just going to allow them to vibrate out of our container. And just allow them to flow back into that earth cord. And now I invite you to place your attention on your own personal aura. So your own magnetic field that surrounds you. And just get a pulse. Just notice, how does your aura feel? Does it feel constricted in places? Does it feel like it's dipped in? Does it want to strengthen? Does it want to expand? We're going to refresh our own personal grounding cord. So from wherever it would feel most supportive in the earth, or specifically in Ireland, we're just going to invite a new earth cord to travel up through the soil This earth cord can be any color or texture. We're going to allow it to attach to the bottom of our feet or the bottom of our aura. We're going to ask or just allow and imagine that this earth cord gets to be twice as big. We're going to ask that it's the size of our own aura, maybe 5 foot, maybe bigger. And we're just going to give our aura full permission to release into that earth cord. We're just going to give permission to release any energies that are inauthentic, energies from our day, even energies that I've shared that might be stuck in your aura. Just allow them to be released, just like a waterfall back into the earth. We're going to welcome in universal energy above our head. So just again, imagining however universal energy shows up for you. It might be a night sky. For me, it's always gold with sparkles and all the natural healing properties. Just allow that universal energy above your head to connect to your aura. Just inviting in that universal energy to wash over your aura, moving through all the different channels, meridians, and layers of our system. We're going to recall our authentic energies. So let's call in our guides and ask our guides to support us. So you can imagine whatever symbol represents your authentic energies is sitting in front of you. You can imagine a star, if that feels good. And we're going to recall our authentic energies back from all dimensions of space and time, back into that symbol. We're also going to call back our soul fragments, identity fragments back into that symbol. And our guides are going to bless our energies, heal them, and update them to who we are now. And beam them in from the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head. Just taking our time to fill in any spaces and any gaps. So now that we're resourced and we're connected, we're now going to travel to Trim, to the Hawthorn tree. So as a group, we're going to go there. We're going to find ourselves standing before the Hawthorn. And first, I like to offer space at the beginning, space between me and the land. So let's approach to wherever feels comfortable. So wherever you want to sit, wherever you feel drawn to maybe you feel like you want to stay at the outskirts. Maybe you want to go to sit underneath the Hawthorn. Just go wherever feels good, wherever feels safe. And first we're going to say hello. So we're going to say hello to the land guardians that are here. You may notice elementals, Davic beings, maybe spirit guardians, and also fairies. We don't have to see them in our mind's eye. We can sense them. We can just know that they're there. So we're going to say hello. So let's introduce ourselves. We're going to say what your name is, where you're from. You're going to say what your intention is, why you're here. It could be, I want to learn how to be in relationship with you, the Hawthorn. I want to be an ally, a guardian. I just want to listen. I just want to learn. I want to give today. And you can also state what your hopes and dreams are, just in general. Now we're going to make some offerings. So we always give. So you can give whatever feels right in your heart. I also like to ask. So let's ask the fairies, what do you need? How can I support you today? What do you want? And again, we can offer energetic offerings. We could offer frequencies, so loving frequencies. We can offer gifts like oats, milk, butter, crystals, well water, coins, or something shiny. And we're going to ask permission to work, to commune with the Hawthorn tree. And when it feels right, we're going to say hello to the Hawthorn tree. We're going to introduce ourselves. So we're going to say our name, where we're from, what our hopes and dreams are. Now I could say my name is Vicky Flanagan. I'm a daughter of Ireland. I would like to heal my heart, to experience mutually beneficial relationships. We're going to ask permission to collaborate today. So we're going to ask if the Hawthorn has any blessings for us, teachings that I would like to offer us, and a heart healing. Usually if you hear a no is a no. And if you hear a yes, it can be, depends how you receive information. I usually receive a yes as a knowing. Maybe a part of your heart or your body expands, or you feel that sensation. It's more of a resonance rather than a dissonance. So just trust. And we're going to face the Hawthorn tree now for this transmission. So as you face the Hawthorn tree, just see that the hawthorn's light and energy moving out from the heart of the tree out towards you. Notice what color it is. Is it like a pinky red color? Is it a gold? Notice what color this healing light is, and allow it to begin to wrap around you like a cocoon. So this hawthorn energy is moving from the top of your head, and it's wrapping you all the way from your crown down to your toes, to your feet. And you're just held in this cocoon for healing. We're going to call in our spirit and our inner wisdom. So just allow yourself to call in your essence or your spirit. And we're going to invite in a blessing. So just watch as your spirit or your essence begins to move down to your crown and offers a blessing to support you in integrating more of who you truly are so you can embody more of your essence and your heart medicine, your authentic self. And we're going to give full permission for our spirit, inner wisdom to clear out any programs in our crown, any beliefs that are preventing us from opening to our heart medicine, to opening from love that we're really desiring or the love that we really are. And some people might start to see pictures or memories. And we're just going to allow any of those pictures or memories to flow into a sacred fire in front of you. And as they move into that fire, they're transmuted, they're completed. We're also going to give our inner wisdom permission to begin to release concepts or frameworks, anything that might be limiting or inauthentic to us, inauthentic to you, anything that's blocking you from embodying your most beautiful and authentic self. We're just going to give permission for that to be released. Just going to allow our inner wisdom to move from our crown down the body to any of the energy centers, any of the chakras that have those limiting, inauthentic programs rooted into core wounds. So we're just going to allow our inner wisdom to find them in the body, maybe in the throat or the heart, solar plexus or below. Just releasing any of those picture stories, memories associated with betrayal, heartbreak. You just feel your higher self or your spirit just healing those core wounds. Any fears of being seen, of being hurt, any fears of letting love in. And remember, you don't have to do anything here. All you have to do is say yes. All you have to do is give permission for your own inner wisdom to do this big work. We can even ask our spirit to bring in magnets, a magnet in front of us and a magnet behind us. Just start to release energies into those magnets. And as that happens, we're going to allow this beautiful cocoon that's wrapped around us from the Hawthorn. Let's allow that to expand into our aura. And as this healing energy expands into our aura, it's just going to dissolve. Again, any programs, anything that's rigid or stuck in our aura, just allow your energy to expand. We've just made lots of beautiful space. We can even offer some of these conditioning or inauthentic energies back to the earth, just allowing them to dissolve back into that earth void with gratitude and love. You can allow that beautiful pink or whatever color came up for you for that cocoon feeling. We're going to allow that light to move back into the hawthorn tree. And we're going to refresh our connection with the earth. So again, wherever would feel most auspicious and supportive, we're going to bring up a brand new earth cord to attach to the bottom of our feet, bottom of our aura. We've reestablished a connection with the earth. So I like to say, you can say hello to the earth and wait for the earth to say hello back. Now we're going to recall our authentic energies again. So you can ask our spirit, our spirit guides as well, to help us to recall our authentic energies back into that symbol, whether it's a star or something else. Calling home our fragments of our identity and our soul back into that symbol, and allowing our guides to bless, update, and heal our energies, updating them to who we are now, and then beaming them in from the bottom of our feet all the way up the top of our head. Just taking our time to fill in any spaces and any gaps. And now we're going to turn to the hawthorn tree again. Just allow yourself to show your heart to the hawthorn. Allow the hawthorn to see your heart. And again, this is like fourth energy center. You can imagine this is the center of where your entire life is co-created. This is where we bring universal energy, earth energy into being, and it's woven together with our own heart medicine, our own essence of who we are. So show the hawthorn who you are. Allow her to see that your heart is beautiful and generous. And you can even show her some of the really kind things that you've done lately. Maybe you've sent thoughtful gifts abroad. Maybe you've hosted events to help other businesses. Maybe you just gave really kind words and compliments to someone that you know really wanted and needed it. Maybe you're giving free sessions, helping people, offering your time. Maybe you're trying your best to live in reciprocity with the land, speaking your ancestors' language. And maybe today is an example where you are showing kindness to land guardians and to nature. Just notice how that kind of lights up your heart. Just notice, we're going to bring our attention now to any walls or guarding that might be in our chest around the heart area. Just see if you can bring your awareness there. Maybe it feels like a tightness, resistance. You might feel like tension in your back, even in your shoulders, your neck. And we're just going to bring our awareness to any of this tension or resistance, any guarding, and we're just going to thank it. So we're going to thank it for keeping us safe, thanking it for keeping us protected and doing its very best for so long. And we're going to thank it and say, thank you for doing your best and keeping me safe, but I'm ready. I'm ready to heal whatever is beneath these walls. I'm ready to heal my heart. I have the support now. I have the skills. Just see if that can kind of ease and just soften any resistance here. We can even welcome earth energy, the hawthorn energy from the roots in through your feet to travel all the way up to your heart to hold any of this resistance. Just allowing it to melt back into the earth. And again, we can just notice if there's any remnants of that guarding, if there's another set of walls and protection. Is it mostly in the back body or is it mostly in the front body? You can kind of maybe get a sense of some of the energies or emotions that are beneath this. Maybe we're starting to feel a little tinge of fear, maybe grief. We're just going to welcome all of our emotions. Everything is welcome. And again, let's bring in some of that hawthorn energy, earth energy, all the way up to our heart to wash over these walls. We can even allow any pictures or feeling stories or memories that want to come in. They might be related to what made you build up these walls, maybe some pain or hurt or trauma. We're just going to allow those pictures to sit in front of us. Also, what comes up for me a lot is pictures of times where the walls around my heart, those kind of harsh boundaries, actually kept love out. Times where you kind of self-sabotaged, where you didn't feel good enough or worthy enough. We can wash over any of these pictures, any of these feeling stories. We'll wash over with earth energy. The earth's going to move through anything that's dense, stuck, or blocked. Let's wash over these pictures with some nourishing and soothing water. We're going to wash over these pictures with the element of fire. The fire is going to transmute any karmic energies, any contracts, vows, or agreements on a soul level that are ready to be completed. The fire is also going to wash over and transmute any cords of enmeshment. We're going to invite in the element of wind to offer a final healing and clearing. And then let's imagine a whole range of golden cosmic light infuses each of these pictures, allowing them to be healed, fully completed, and we can watch as they burst into light. So we can place a magnet in front of you and a magnet behind you once again, and just start releasing energies into those magnets. Whatever's ready to be released, even stuck energies, anything that's blocked. We can move to the throat, to the heart, to the solar plexus, maybe the crown or the mind's eye. We could even put a magnet at each energy center. Just set the intention to release energies. And we're just going to bring in now lots of forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself, for what you did when you were in survival mode. Just recognizing that you're doing your best. And just notice those walls again. Just notice if we can give them permission to release now. And then again, if there's any emotions that are present, see if you can name them. Is there fear? Is there sadness? What about grief? Maybe there's a complex emotions going on. Let's just bring in earth energy to hold these emotions. You don't have to hold them on your own. See what you can release into the earth. Maybe some of it's not yours. Maybe some of it belongs to the collective. Maybe some of it belongs to your family, ancestors. Let's just give permission that whatever is not authentic to us or what doesn't belong to us can be released back into that earth cord. And the earth will know what to do with it. It will be able to compost it. And then the energies are left. Just notice if they've maybe changed. Have they lessened the weight of those emotions? You feel a little bit like, I can breathe a bit more now. And for anyone that's holding a lot of ancestral energy, know that you can't transmute what's not yours, but we will send this healing back to all of your ancestors that would like this healing at the end of this session, so that you in good conscience can release their energy from your heart. And we're going to wash over our heart center. So let's bring in the elements. We're going to start with earth energy. We're going to wash over with really dense earth energy. Washing over our heart center. For some people, you might feel drawn to wash over your entire aura, your entire body. That's okay if that feels good. I'm going to wash over with nourishing and soothing water. And you can allow your heart to choose whatever body of water would feel most appropriate or supportive. Maybe rainwater, maybe lake, maybe ocean water. We're going to wash over with the element of fire. The fire is going to transmute any karmic energies, contracts, vows, and agreements that are ready to be completed, cords of enmeshment. And then we get to have a really beautiful clearing, and we also get to feed the fire. So this gets to be nourishment and food for the fire. We're going to welcome in the element of wind to wash over our heart, to wash over our aura, and offer a final healing and clearing. We can bring in a whole rainbow of frequencies to pour into our heart. Allow this center to ask for whatever it needs and whatever it wants from the earth and from the universe. And now, once again, we're going to turn to the Hawthorn tree, and we're going to welcome the healing light of the Hawthorn medicine to pour out and into our heart. And again, we're just going to allow Hawthorn to offer whatever healing that we need right now. Hawthorn is going to strengthen our heart. It's going to help us to remember and awaken our heart medicine. So our contribution to the world, our own authentic expression. Again, you can imagine that this light is maybe swirling around, or maybe it's just beaming straight into your heart center. We're going to give our heart full permission to heal and evolve. And we're going to thank Hawthorn and allow her light to move back into the tree. And now that our heart has been healed and awakened, notice what color you see here in your own heart, in your own fourth energy center. Allow your heart, again, the center of where your world is co-created, allow that energy to ignite, to expand and awaken. And as it does, this light, your own light, just watch as it begins to burn away and dissolve anything that doesn't serve you, anything in the heart that doesn't serve you, or anything that's not for your most authentic path. Just allow the wisdom of your heart, the intelligence of your essence, to re-establish boundaries here. Just allow the light of who you are to protect you, support you in magnetizing and receiving exactly what you need. Let's just for a moment allow your heart energy to expand into your aura, allowing it to say hello to your different energy centers, upper chakras, lower chakras, allowing all of our energy centers to balance and be in harmony. We're going to allow our entire aura to heal and evolve. And now just allow your heart energy to return to a size that feels comfortable, that feels safe. We're going to allow this work to reset our self-concept. We're going to allow this work to reset our belief systems and our reality. We're going to allow this work, and you can even imagine you're hitting the reset button on the edge of your aura and reset your boundaries. We're going to allow this work to reset our relationships. So you can send out a spiritual text message to everybody that you know and everybody that you're about to meet or yet to meet, and letting them know that you've evolved. We're going to send out this energy to help you to attract and hook up with new opportunities. We're going to refresh your grounding cord. So let's bring up a brand new earth cord. Put a magnet in front of you and a magnet behind you, and just start releasing energies into those magnets. We're going to bring in universal energy above our head, all the sparkles, and just allow it to flow into the different energy centers, moving through all of our layers of our aura. We're going to recall our authentic energies through all dimensions of space and time, any soul fragments, any identity fragments. And our guides are going to bless our energies, heal them, and update them to who we are now. And then beam them in from the bottom of your feet, all the way up to the top of your head. And we're going to send all this beautiful healing energy back in time. We're going to send it back to younger versions of ourselves, so that younger versions of ourselves feel supported, to receive the healing that we needed, to feel loved and worthy, that we matter. We're also going to send this healing energy back in time throughout our lineage. So any of our ancestors that would like to receive this healing energy, they can put their hand up, and we're going to wash over them with this really beautiful healing balm, so they get to receive healing and support. We're going to allow this healing energy to evolve our current reality, and we're even going to send it forward in time so that we get to align with our most auspicious, our most successful and aligned timeline. So before we go, we're going to thank the Hawthorn. So let's wash over the Hawthorn with a whole ocean of gratitude. We can thank Hawthorn whatever way feels personal for us. Maybe you want to open our heart and send loving energies back to Hawthorn. I like to shower with blessings from the cosmos. We can ask Hawthorn, what does it need or what does it want? And we're going to say yes. So we can offer, sometimes it might ask for a frequency, like a color. It might ask for something in the physical. And we're going to thank the fairies and also the other beings that live here and protect the tree. So again, let's wash it over with a whole ocean of gratitude. And then we can offer a whole sky full of flowers. If there's any offerings that you feel called to make here, you can do that as well. I read somewhere that people in spring, when the hawthorn blooms, they make a crown of the hawthorn blossom and they gift it to the fairies. Maybe we can do that. So we're going to say goodbye for now. And as we leave the hawthorn and we leave trim, we're going to come back into our group container. We're going to thank the universe and we're going to thank the earth. And we're going to bless them both. And as we bless them, they bless us right back. We're going to thank our guides and we're going to bless our guides. And as we bless them, they bless us right back. I can see that we've already up leveled, so our containers seem super small. That's funny. So we can make templates of this healing available, and we're going to share with any beings that would like to receive this healing, any beings that would like to receive healing, teachings, blessings, like to be free. We're going to offer this out to them. We're going to send back each other's energies that are in each other's spaces. So I'm going to send back everyone's energy with love and gratitude. And we're going to recall our authentic energies from each other's spaces and from all dimensions of space and time. And as they're coming home, our guides are going to bless and update our energies and beam them in. And we can just confidently step out of our container since we have surpassed it. So we're going to step out of the container. And we're just going to take a minute. Maybe take a few deep breaths again before you open your eyes. You're welcome to journal if you have anything that you'd like to write down. And if you have any questions or you'd like to share, you're more than welcome to reach out anytime. And I really appreciate you being here and being a part of this session. So thanks so much.